Hello once again, watchers of good TV. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my college dorm room. Now, I'm going to be talking about Season 2 of House of Cards right now. So, if you have not finished that season, don't watch this because I'm going to be spoiling some big event that happens in the very first episode right away. So, if you don't want that spoiled for you, watch the season, then come back to this. Also, if you have not finished Season 1 of House of Cards, watch that, and then watch Season 2, and then come back to this, because I don't want to spoil things for you. The show still stars Kevin Spacey as Francis Underwood. He is the manipulative congressman, now turned vice president in this version of America and the White House. He is still as manipulative as humanly possible, and it's great. His wife, played by Robin Wright, is also by his side. She is a lot more manipulative in this episode, and you really see them come together as a team, and you see it, and you see that they are really working towards something that they both really want to achieve. Michael Gill stars as President Walker. He is the current president and kind of the main guy who Underwood is trying to get out of office, non-directly. Yeah, I'll be talking about certain characters as they come in. All the actors in the show do a great job. It's a very well-acted show. Very first episode, they kill off Zoe Barnes, which I was very frustrated about. For a few episodes afterwards, I was still hoping to see her come back in some shape or form. Maybe she stashed some sort of information that she found on Underwood that would be rediscovered, or maybe she would end up not being dead. But then we see the footage from the camera, and we see her essentially get splattered by the train. And it's official, yes, she is dead, and she doesn't come back for the rest of the season. This was something which really frustrated me right off the bat, just because for the first season, the dynamic between Underwood and Zoe was a huge thing. Just with her trying to figure out what was happening and her being manipulated by Underwood for the majority of the season. And I was looking forward to that dynamic returning in this season, and then she just gets killed off right towards the end of the first episode. And it was a very big shock, and I don't know if the actress wanted to just leave the show and pursue other options, or if they just decided to kill off the character for the purposes of the story. But that was something which really bugged me for about the first half of the show. But very quickly into the show, Underwood becomes the vice president. The show moves into issues with China, in which Gerald Ramey, who plays Raymond Tusk, he is a businessman who has his sights set on China. He's working kind of back channeling money and that type of stuff through his businesses, and he becomes a major player in this whole season. He is a close ally to the president, and he is kind of the main enemy that Underwood has to deal with for this whole show. One thing that I saw in a review that I saw of this season was that it seemed like Francis Underwood was never really fully challenged. He never really had an enemy which could truly compete with him. For the majority of the show, yes, that's true. He is eliminating people left and right. He takes out essentially the whole news team that was against him in the first season, including Zoe to start with, and then Lucas later on. Just essentially eliminates all problems or people that could potentially get him into trouble. And it seems like he's sitting good, he's on top, and then we move into the China stuff, and that's where it starts to get really interesting. His chief of staff, Doug Stamper, he goes to China and starts to negotiate things, and this causes a bit of trouble towards the end of the show. It's really just a big back and forth. The show stays very dramatic and dramatized. There are things going on with Claire, and she reveals something big about her past, and I'll get to a lot of this towards the end of the video after the credits, just because if you are watching this and you haven't seen the end of the show, I don't want to spoil big things for you. But she does that, and that causes a whole reform bill in the military to start to try and get passed. Molly Parker comes in as Jackie Sharp. She becomes the whip now that Francis is gone, and she has a very prominent role in the show. We see her in the background intermingling with a lobbyist who also has a big presence in the show, and she becomes a very key player towards the end of the season. The central focus, as per usual, is still on Francis Underwood, but seeing him kind of play the field now that he is a footstep away from the presidency, seeing him kind of do all these things, and they all kind of come together at the end of the show as we see him make a bid for the presidency. Yeah, that's where I'll stop this bit of the review. As a whole, I really enjoyed House of Cards Season 2. I thought it started out really good at the beginning, got a tad slow, so I stopped watching for a few days, and then I came back to it, and it picked up immensely quickly again. And it finished very strong. It has been renewed for a third season, and based on the ending, I would really like that third season to be the last season, because I think that it would be a good stopping point, and I'll talk about that after the credits of the video as to why that would be a good stopping point. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. Share the video if you so choose as well. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching. And if you are still watching, you're here to see my thoughts on the ending to House of Cards Season 2. Now, the big thing that Claire reveals in her interview is that she is raped, and she calls out one of the higher-ups in the army, or in the military, and this causes a whole reform bill to go into place to try to prevent rapes from occurring in the military. This causes her to create an interaction with Megan Hennessy, and she becomes a very interesting character. Doug in the background is dealing with Rachel, who's the girl who he starts to protect towards the end of season 1. She comes into play a huge amount in the rest of the season. She develops a relationship with another woman, and we just see her really struggle to try and control her life, as Doug is also controlling that life. With the end of her story, Doug finds out that a hacker has found out where she is. Doug takes it upon himself to get her out. She is just fed up with him trying to control her life. She runs away and then ends up killing him by impact to the head. She hits him 3 times over the head with a brick, and towards the very end of the finale, we see him lying in the ground dead. And so that will be, I'm sure, a very big thing to come out towards the beginning of season 3, as I'm sure that will probably be one of the main plot points, is figuring out who caused Doug's death, and then more people finding out about Rachel, and then either Underwood doing something to prevent her from saying things, or her starting to talk and getting Francis in trouble. This leads to the rest of it. We have a huge war going on between Tusk and Francis in terms of trying to get the president's favor. Towards the end of the season, we see all these things kind of accumulate towards the end of the penultimate episode, in which Francis and Claire recruit Jackie Sharp to whip the votes to impeach the president, because all the Chinese back money laundering events are starting to come out, and he's being blamed for them. And so impeachment was Francis's main goal. He is trying to create so much chaos that the people want him out, and then Francis, as the vice president, can step in. And that is essentially what happens at the end of the final episode. The president resigns, he steps down, and Francis takes over as president. Now, there's a lot of other things which occurred throughout the season. I don't want to really get into all of them, because that would make this video a lot longer than it already is. But if you have questions, just comment below and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. We have Francis at the height of his power. He cannot get any higher than the presidency. So my prediction for the rest of the series is that either they're going to have season 3 be the final season with something coming out and Francis essentially just downsliding to the point where he has lost everything and he becomes disgraced and he just loses all power that he's gained. Or We have a whole season with him as president. Everything goes good, and then towards the end, something major comes out, and it compromises his place as the president. He has to downslide at some point. I don't know how long they're going to keep this show going. I really like it, but I want them to do something similar to Breaking Bad, where they know where to end the show, where they have like a set outline of how they want the show to play out. Once they've told the story, they will end the story. They won't just keep it going for the purpose of money and views and all that type of stuff. That is my hope. And yeah, I really, like I said earlier, I really liked season 2 of House of Cards. Really good. I really would have liked to see Zoe not get killed off right away, just to see that dynamic play out a little bit more. But I mean, towards the end of it, I wasn't even really thinking about that because the show worked really well as a drama, and I got really, really interested in seeing who is going to win in the end of this whole conflict between Tusk and Underwood. And again, really, really good show to watch. Yeah, I look forward to next year with season 3 and this summer with Orange is the New Black. So look for that review in June. Yeah, like always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. Share the video as well if you prefer, because that's always nice of you people to do. As always, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.